Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be breaking down a book called The Nice House on the Lake. Now, I previously covered volume 1 in 2022, but in this video I am combining that volume 1 video I did previously with volume 2. So this is going to be the complete cycle 1 story, which will tell the full story of that first bit, covering issues 1 through 12. Now, this book did not conclude. There is a sequel, and the sequel actually just started coming out. Issue 1 came out a few days ago, and the sequel is called The Nice House by the Sea. And that one is going to cover different people in a different house, but they may intersect with the people in this house in the future. We shall see. But pretty exciting stuff. Now, this is a really cool, unique book. The concept is this guy invites 10 of his friends to a nice house on the lake for a nice summer vacation. But as soon as they arrive, it is the apocalypse, and the rest of the world is burning and dead. And they are the only people supposedly left alive in the world, and they have to live on that nice house on the lake for the rest of time. And there's all sorts of mystery and fantasy about, and yeah, lots to figure out in here. Really unique stuff, really trippy to try and see where this story is gonna go. So let's dive into it now. The Nice House on the Lake, Cycle 1, covering volumes 1 and 2. Before I dive into it though, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you have not and you are watching this video, so that way YouTube will keep, recommending my videos to you. And also, if you're interested, I have a Patreon, which you can pay a little bit and sign up for and watch my videos early and support my channel that way. So if you are interested in that, check out the link in the description. But for now, let's dive into The Nice House on the Lake. The Nice House on the Lake Deluxe Edition, covering volume 1 and 2 of the first cycle, which spans issues 1 through 12. The series is written by James Tynion IV, art by Alvaro Martinez Bueno, and colors by Jordi Belair. Issue 1. There is a man named Walter. He is bisexual. Interesting fact, James Tynion IV is also bisexual in real life, so I think Walter is in some ways a way to mirror a little bit of himself into the book. But yes, Walter, he is an ordinary man. He grew up. He went to high school. He made friends. He went to college. He made some more friends. And then he moved to New York City and yet again made some more friends there. These are some of Walter's friends, the people he cares about the most. There is Sam Nguyen, the reporter. Sam met Walter in high school. Sam is in a romantic relationship with Arturo Perez, the acupuncturist. Walter is friends with the both of them. There is Molly Reynolds, the accountant. When Walter was in high school, he met Molly at their local mall. There is Veronica Wright, the scientist. She was best friends with Molly. There is Nora Jacobs, the writer, who used to go by Norm back then. Nora, or Norm, is another high school friend of Walter's. When Nora was Norm back in high school, Norm dated Veronica for quite a bit. There is Rick McEwen, the pianist, whom Walter met at a dining hall when they were in college. So now we are meeting some of his college friends. There is Naya Radia, the doctor. She is now married to Rick. There is David Day, the comedian, whom Walter first met at a party back in college. There is Ryan Kane, the artist. Walter met her because she used to date David Day, the comedian. There is Sarah Radnitz, the consultant, whom Walter met smoking outside of a dormitory in college. Walter and these 10 friends are the main characters in this book. Who they are and what their little role is going to be very important for the story. Some of Walter's friend group from high school and college and his adult life in New York overlapped with one another. Some of them knew each other and some of them didn't fall in the same friend circle. But either way, Walter, now in his early 30s in the year 2021, he decided he wanted to have all of his friends come together and spend a week at his lake house in Wisconsin in the summer. Even though everyone didn't exactly know each other, he thought everyone would have fun, and Walter promised a great time. In early February of that year, he sent an email to his many friends talking about this trip. He wrote, "Hello all you beautiful monsters. It's been a busy few years, and we've all spread ourselves thin around the country and abroad. It's not as easy to meet up for a drink as it used to be. Even those of you I still live in the city with rarely get to see me, especially given the state of the world. I miss you all terribly, and that's something I'd like to remedy. A few days ago, a friend of my mom's said that I could borrow his lake house in upstate Wisconsin for a week this summer, June 14th to the 20th. I've attached a few pictures and I would attach more, but they're honestly too beautiful, and I think you'd all be convinced I'd made the whole thing up. But I promise you, it's real. This is important to me. This is why I've been texting you all mysteriously about your summer schedule and plans, so no pretending you have something better to do. If you need help with travel, let me know. If you need to be strong-armed into coming, let me know and I'll unleash my very strong arms. I'll send a more detailed itinerary as we get closer. Walter." So Walter was talking to all of his friends and he sent that email, and if any friends needed more persuading to come, Walter would try and persuade them. Walter, he also wanted to keep the guest list a little bit mysterious. He wrote his one friend Ryan, who's a female, in May. He wrote to Ryan saying, "Ryan, I'm so very glad you agreed to come to the house this summer. It's been more difficult to nail everyone down than I expected. The house was meant to have room for 15, but we're down to 12 coming for the week. Disappointing, but I think the others will be more disappointed in the long run." Attached to this email, you'll find all the information you need to get to the house from the airport, which is simple enough. A driver will be waiting for you when you get off your flight. You'll also find a few helpful maps of the house and the grounds. I've created little name placards for everyone that will be placed around the house. I did it because I think it's fun, and also because these documents talk about the others attending, and I wanted to keep the final guest list a little mysterious. This was more a concern with my other friends, to keep them from asking around and looping in people who aren't invited. You are the artist. Over the course of your visit, you might find a few little treats labeled with your symbol that I know you will appreciate. Most importantly, you'll find your symbol on your bedroom. You'll be sharing a room with the writer, who I promise you know and like. Please text if you have any questions or concerns, but I really couldn't be happier that you're going to make it. It wouldn't be the same without you, Walter. Alright everyone, that's kind of our setup. All of these different friends have been brought to this lake house by Walter. It's a little quirky that Walter has designated his friends certain titles based on their job or skill, and he put their little symbols on their bedroom door, but it still sounds like a pretty fun time and a free trip. The day finally comes, June 14th, and all 10 of Walter's friends fly from across the country, and they all eventually arrive at the nice house on the lake. Let's see our guest's journey now. First, we are following Ryan Kane, the artist. She is 26 years old. She arrives and meets Nora Jacobs, the writer, Walter's friend from high school. They exchange hellos. The two of them then walk inside the house. Inside the house, it is beautiful. It is like a Hollywood mansion in there. It is like a place that rich assholes would live. Inside the house, they see David Day, the comedian. He is Walter's friend from college. David, he's already drinking. David tells Nora and Ryan, "Hey, I was looking for a TV, and I found a frickin' movie theater downstairs. And the seats are all heated with built-in massagers." David, he hugs Ryan as he knows her from New York. He grabs Ryan away and he wants to show her more of the house. We see Molly Reynolds, the accountant, and Veronica Wright, the scientist. Both of them are high school friends of Walter, and they are also checking the place out. They comment on how nice it is, and how they want to go take the kayaks out later this week. Veronica, the scientist, says that there is a telescope here. She's excited to check out the stars here. Veronica sees Nora downstairs. She used to date Nora back in high school when Nora was a man named Norm. Veronica says hello to her and Nora says, hey, back. Sam Nguyen, the reporter, an old high school friend of Walter's, has arrived with his boyfriend Arturo Perez, the acupuncturist. They are on the rooftop patio of the lake house, overlooking the lake. It is, of course, a beautiful view. Eventually, Sam and Arturo meet Ryan and Nora and David, and they all get acquainted and say their hellos. There is Sarah Radnitz, the consultant. She brought her laptop. Even though she is on vacation, she's still trying to do some work. Her job is connected to the government. Ryan Kane, she is admiring the scenery when Naya Radia, the doctor, comes over and says hi. They know each other from New York as well. Naya's boyfriend, or perhaps husband, Rick McEwen, the pianist, is nearby toweling off. He also says hello. As everyone is saying hi and getting acquainted, finally Walter, the man of honor, arrives. Walter announces to the group, I'm glad you all came. Now who wants to test these steaks out on the grill? So they all eat some steaks, and they drink, and they talk, and they're hanging out by the pool. Everyone's having a pretty fun time. Eventually though, Ryan, she looks at her phone. Reception has been pretty spotty here at the nice house on the lake for most people, but Ryan's cell phone provider seems to have better reception, so she has some signal. Ryan, she's looking at her phone and she's scrolling through Twitter, and she sees that something bad has happened in New York City. Not only in New York, all over the world. People are burning to death spontaneously. Their skin is falling off, their eyes are melting in their sockets. People are dying and nobody knows why, and the sky is on fire. It looks like Armageddon, the end of the world. Ryan, she turns to the group, who are all laid back and enjoying themselves, and she yells, There's something wrong. Everyone, shut the fuck up. There's something wrong. New York City is gone. There are pictures of people burning alive all over Twitter and Instagram. Oh shit, I'm gonna throw up. The entire party and fun mood grinds to a halt. They all move to the TV, and when they turn on the TV, they see the emergency broadcast system message is on. Everyone is panicking. They start thinking of their loved ones back home. Ryan then, she remembers a conversation she had with Walter when they first met years ago. Walter asked her, how do you think the world will end? It was an odd, nihilistic question, but Ryan was intrigued by Walter, and her and Walter actually discussed it for a bit. Kind of like a silly joke conversation you might have about that topic. Ryan, she gave some theories, and she asked Walter what his theories were. She said, what do you think? How do you think the world will end? Walter answered, I don't know. I'm still trying to decide, but it helps to talk about it, I think. We should continue this conversation sometime. And they did continue talking about it. Ryan has that memory on her mind now, though, and she realizes that this whole lake house wasn't a coincidence. Walter brought them all here. She says out loud and points at Walter and says, You picked us. Just tell them, don't pretend. Walter, he then admits to the group, I'm sorry, everyone. You can't leave. There's nowhere for you to leave to. No world to go back to. Not in any way that matters. This house, this lake, the beautiful woods around us, this is what's left. The 7 billion people out there are dead, or they will be dead shortly. This is why I brought you here. I wanted to save you from what my people were going to do to your planet. I'm not going to explain to you what I really am or why this was necessary. I'd rather you all think of me as the man you always knew me to be, your friend. That's why I arranged this. A corner of the world preserved for you to live out the rest of your lives in peace. You won't want for anything here. You have delicious food, alcohol, kayaks, boats, entertainment. You have this incredible house I built just for you, and you have each other. But you will never be able to leave. Put the horrors away. Open another beer. Put on the music. Relax. Nothing out there matters to you anymore. You are okay. You are all going to be okay. Nora is not accepting this. What? She grabs a poker that you would use in the fireplace, and she swings at Walter's face with it. And Walter's face appears to get all messed up, but he doesn't die. And it is clear that Walter, in fact, is not human. His face just gets all stretched out and weird looking and stuff. But he is fine. Somehow, Walter retaliates and with his brain makes Nora's wrist kind of explode and break, and Nora screams out in pain. Walter tells the group, I know you're all hurting, but in time you'll see this was the right call. I'll be back every now and then to toast to the old world. Until then, I hope you find it in you to enjoy yourselves. I love you all. Walter, he then disappears, and the entire group are all stunned. Issue 2. Rick McEwen, the pianist, has a memory of him and Walter in college in their dorm room together. Walter was sad then, and he told Rick, Do you think anybody likes me? And Rick asked Walter, What's wrong? And Walter answered, It's just a lot. There's only a little time left and I'm not ready. Rick replied, You mean with school? Graduation is still like a whole semester away. Walter replied, Yeah, school. In retrospect, Walter was probably talking about the end of the world which he knew was coming. Rick told Walter that he loves him. And so do the rest of Walter's friends like Sarah and David and all of Walter's old high school buddies. Walter told Rick, Yeah, I know. Just don't hate me, okay? No matter what. Even if everybody else does, please, don't hate me. Back to the current day now at the nice house on the lake. Mysteriously, we see a transcript of what happened next after the end of last issue. Who and how this transcript was written and why was it written is unknown. Is this merely a way the comic wants to tell us the story, or is there something more to this? Is someone reading these transcripts in the comic? Maybe we'll find out later. Maybe we won't. From the transcript, we pick up when Nora's arm broke and Walter disappeared. The others were all frantic, commenting, What the F was that? How the F did he do that? He just blew up Nora's arm with his brain and then he disappeared. Is this all some sort of joke? This isn't real. Eventually, Naya the doctor, came to Nora's aid and helped patch her up. Well, that was night 1 at the nice house on the lake. Now we go to day 2. Rick McEwen, the pianist. He wakes up in bed by his girlfriend Naya, the doctor, by his side. They talk. Naya says that Nora is doing better. Rick goes to take a shower. After he showers, he admires the view out the window. You can't deny it is a beautiful view. Walter just appears in the bathroom there beside Rick. Walter tells Rick, Hi Rick, I'm sorry. This isn't how I wanted the week to go. But if this is going to work, I'm going to need your help. We then see a recording and transcript of various conversations going on downstairs. It's mostly just everyone confused by all the end of the world stuff they were seeing on their phones and whatnot. They read a Washington Post headline saying it was a coordinated global attack and the President of the United States is dead. And 1 hour and 15 minutes ago, Twitter just stopped, as did all news, silence across the board. We then see an agenda that Walter made for everyone in the beginning of the week and what he planned for each day. So day 1, everyone arrives, and then steaks on the grill. And for the night crowd, a monster movie. But then the world ended, and the rest of the itinerary people don't really want to do anymore. But let's see what Walter planned for anyway. On day 2, there was going to be a lazy morning breakfast, and then a house meeting, and the week's grocery list. And then they were going to take out the boats, and then relax, and then a family dinner. And for the night crowd, a thriller Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, another lazy morning breakfast, and then relax, lunch, afternoon hike, relax, family dinner. For the night crowd, whiskey western Wednesday, etc., etc., etc. for the rest of the week. Ryan Kane, the artist, is downstairs, talking to Molly, the accountant, and Veronica, the scientist. Ryan is trying to figure out how Walter knows everyone. Maybe it will help her figure things out if she can make sense of all the connections. Naya, Rick, Sarah, and David are in the kitchen. They are all eating food. Sarah comments that this bagel is really, really good. David comments, yeah, Walter said he brought a big bag from a bagel smith in Brooklyn. The rest in the kitchen pause and look at David a little weird. And David adds, what? Am I supposed to pretend that Walter didn't say things now? He did. This is before he blew up the world and went all flesh tornado, okay? Sarah wonders, are these the last fresh bagels they will ever eat in their lifetime? They discuss, should they be preserving food? Will they all starve soon? Sarah leaves to go take a smoke. Sarah finds Nora out there, and the two of them smoke some cigarettes. Sarah comments, please tell me you brought like a suitcase full of cigarettes? At this rate, I'm going through my entire pack day 1 in purgatory here. Nora theorizes that, I bet as soon as we finish this pack, a new pack will just magically turn up for us in the house. Sarah says that maybe they should go explore the house. Maybe see if they can find this secret stash of cigarettes that Walter left for them. In the house, Sam Nguyen, the reporter, announces, everyone listen up! I found something that everybody needs to see. It's just outside. A group of them follow Sam. Rick and Naya hold back though. Rick wants to talk to Naya in private. Elsewhere in the house, Nora and Sarah are exploring. They find a spa room with a sensory deprivation tank. They also check out the movie theater room. Then they go to the library. Nora comments, look at these books. There are shelves of how-to books, stuff on building and repairs and boat maintenance. Nora is shocked, and then she says, look at this whole bookshelf. It's just books and comics that Walter told me to read going back to when we were teenagers. They then find a little key at the back of one of the bookshelves. Where will it lead to? Alright, so Nora and Sarah are exploring the house. They are in the library. Rick and Naya, they are talking privately. And Sam, he is leading the rest of the group to a weird-looking statue outside. Sam explains that he was walking around last night. He was walking around the invisible wall that seems to circle the lake and property. And as he was walking around, he eventually came across this statue with a sad-looking face on it. And Sam says that he touched it, and the statue showed him his home. What's left of it, anyway. Ryan Kane, she touches the statue, and she sees her home. She sees New York City burning and people dying, and she backs away from the statue, scared. We jump over to Rick, talking to his girlfriend Naya. Rick is influenced by Walter visiting him in the bathroom earlier. Rick tells Naya, what if we take all of this at face value? We are the only people left in the world. Walter isn't human, and he put us here because he loved us. Everyone is going to lose their minds trying to get away from the house. But I think we need to accept that the house is all we got. Somebody here needs to be the voice of reason. Walter's itinerary? I think it still makes sense. People are going to reject it because they're afraid of him now, but he wrote it for a reason. At the very least, we should have dinner together as a group every night. A little structure will keep us all from going insane. Naya asks, "And what if the others don't let us make the most of it, Rick?" Rick answers, "Then honestly, I bet Walter has a plan for that too." Elsewhere in the house, back over to Nora and Sarah exploring. They found that weird key in the library, and they opened it, and it led to a secret passageway. And in that secret passage, they find some guns and weapons and explosives. What are these for, they wonder. Back over to Rick and Naya. Naya hugs Rick and agrees to help him with the plan of calming everybody down and making them feel that this is normal. Issue 3. We see a text exchange between Sam and Walter from before the nice house on the lake vacation. Sam was trying to tell Walter that he couldn't come, but Walter convinced him, told Sam that he could work from the cabin, told him that he needed to take a real vacation. He told him, "I miss you, man. I miss everybody. I want the people I care most about to be there, and that includes you. I won't push you much harder, but who knows when we'll all get another chance to do something like this." So Sam took some convincing, but he came. To the current day now, day 4. Sam Nguyen, the reporter, is with his partner Arturo, and they are in bed. Sam is just staring out into space. Arturo asks Sam if he's okay. Sam just answers, "No." Downstairs in the kitchen, Rick, Naya, and David are talking. Naya says that they should watch something nice tonight, a movie. David says, "We got a whole movie theater and like every movie you have ever heard of. We don't need to watch a Disney movie, Naya." Naya says, "Hey, I didn't say it had to be a Disney movie. I just said it should be something nice. No horror, no death, something feel good, maybe a comedy?" Rick states, "I think it's a great idea." Rick and Naya are trying to get people to start doing normal things, accept things. Sam, though, he comes downstairs. He says that he wants to survey the area today and get a sense of how big a space they're in, and also take some inventory on various items they have and food. Sam soon learns, though, that Rick and Naya are trying to plan people's day. Rick says he wants to take one of the boats out and grab some beers and snacks and enjoy the open lake. Not do anything serious today. Sam is flabbergasted. He says, "Are you kidding me?" Rick makes his argument. "We're all scared, Sam. We're all scared, but we're not helping anyone by letting it consume us. I think getting a sense of space and doing an inventory are both great ideas, and we should do them, but what if we get started on that tomorrow? What if we do like one day on and one day off?" Sam is starting to get really angry. He says, "You want to drink beers on a boat and watch Disney movies? Whatever, man." Sam storms off. Outside, Sam sees Ryan and decides to vent to her. He tells her, "We should be talking about rationing. We don't even know all the supplies we have on hand. And everyone is eating eggs like we have an infinite supply. But I haven't seen any chickens, have you?" Ryan tells Sam, "Look, Rick just thinks Walter wouldn't let us starve." Sam can't believe what he's hearing, and he walks off for the day and explores. Sam, he walks around and heads into the forest, and he walks until he touches the invisible wall that seems to be keeping them in. He touches the wall and it kind of stings when he touches it. Sam, he then walks along the invisible wall with the twig touching the invisible wall. Walter is watching this. He's watching Sam. While Sam is walking, Rick and the others are out on the lake, enjoying their day on the boat. Sam returns home that night to the lake house, and he is eager to go to sleep and start out again tomorrow. He is going to bring supplies and try to stay out there for a while and really figure things out. The next day, Sam gets up early to investigate some more. He argues with his boyfriend Arturo about the seriousness of the situation they are in. Sam thinks Arturo is being too casual. Sam explains the reason that he is not calm. He tells Arturo, "I'm not calm because we're in a prison. It's a nice prison, but we're still frickin' stuck here, and I will not just sit back and watch movies and have dinners and fuck around like it's not the end of the world out there. There are answers out there, not in that frickin' house. It might take me a few days. I have food. I have your boots. I found a flare gun in the garage. I'll shoot it off if I get into trouble. Arturo offers to go with Sam, but Sam rejects that and he leaves. Sam, he gets out and explores. He takes notes and pictures. He is trying to figure out what the hell is the deal with everything. Sam eventually, through all of his exploring, finds a black structure. He does not know what the deal with it is. It looks like a big black house, except it has no entrance. There are also a bunch of weird statues around it too. Sam, he starts screaming, trying to talk to Walter. He says, "What is all this, man? I know you're in there. Answer me, Walter. You pushed me so hard to come here. Why? Why would you ever think I could live like this? I should be dead out there like everyone else. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. Why did you even invite me?" Sam, tired now, giving up, fires off the flare gun into the air. He eventually composes himself and starts walking back home. On the other side of that black structure, though, it turns out someone was inside there. Not Walter. It was another friend of Walter's from high school named Reginald. Sam even knows Reginald. Reginald Madison, the painter. Reginald, too, was invited. But for some reason, Reginald was kept in this other place. Reginald can see Sam on the other side of this black structure, and Reginald starts yelling, saying, "Sam, Sam, can you hear me? It's Reg. I'm right here. Can you hear me?" Sam cannot hear him, though. Sam, he continues walking on, and eventually he gets picked up by boat by Arturo and David. Arturo was watching for Sam's flare gun to go in the air, and when he saw it, he came by to pick Sam up. Arturo asks if Sam found what he was looking for, and Sam answers, "I found all I was going to find. Now let's go home." Issue 4. We learn from David Day, the comedian narrating to us, that they were worried in the house about starving to death. After a few days of panic, though, the first box arrived, full of fresh food, and it had a notepad. It took them all another day to realize that whatever they all wrote on that notepad showed up in front of the house the next morning. And another week later, they learned that they could request things privately if they took a page out of the notepad to their room and wrote their name on it. We see some example scribbles of things they requested. For example, on day 8, they wrote, "Testing, 1, 2, 3, 1 apple." And the next day, an apple arrived. Day 9, 10 chicken breast, 1 pound of butter, 2 bags of mixed greens, 1 box of chicken ramen, and 1 pack of National Spirit Blue cigarettes. Day 11, a lot of weed gummies, 1 tub of peanut butter pretzel bites, 1 carton of National Spirit Blue cigarettes, 1 dozen bagels, cream cheese, etc., etc., etc. As the days went on, everyone in the house started ordering more elaborate things. They began to nickname this sort of magical delivery service as Alien Amazon. And we jump to day 27 now, and we see all of the crazy shit that David Day has requested down in the movie theater room. We see a monkey in a spacesuit, the very first issue of Action Comics, an arcade machine, a couple of Oscars, and tons more. David, he starts wandering around. He goes down to the library and he sees Nora and Sarah reading books. They all talk a bit. David asks them, how did they arrive here at the house on the lake? Was it by car or by the airport or whatnot? They don't really remember. Molly comes down and asks David if he checked the packages yet. Was there something specifically for her? Or something she ordered that she is waiting for? David tells her nothing came for her today. David, he then talks to himself about maybe ordering a cowboy hat, like a really nice one. Day 28. David sees Ryan sleeping outside.
Ryan was trying to stay awake so she could see and watch the magical packages being delivered, but she fell asleep and then the packages were beside her when she woke up. David tells her, "Ryan, we tried this all. The boxes don't come if anybody is looking." Ryan explains, "No, I guess I was just kind of hoping for some kind of proof of the boxes being delivered here, like truck treads on the ground or something. That might mean there was some warehouse of people out there." David, he gets his stupid cowboy hat, and it's like zebra printed. David, he brings the packages inside for the others in the house. David announces, "The great alien bounty has arrived." Naya, who is cooking in the kitchen food for everybody, thanks David. She says that she might order up some food for a big meal she is planning tomorrow. David asks Naya, "Hey, question. You and Rick, did you drive in from New York or did you fly into Madison?" Naya answers, "We must have flown. I hate long drives." Molly asks David again, "Did a package arrive for her today?" And David tells her, "No, sorry." Day 29. David on this day is once again delivering the alien packages from Walter to whoever ordered anything within the house. David gets to Molly and Veronica's room. Molly and Veronica are good friends, so they share a bedroom. Veronica asks if Molly got a package today, and David tells her, "No, not today." Veronica tells Molly, "Sorry dear, no luck." Veronica then goes into the hall and wants to talk to David in private, where Molly can't hear. Veronica tells David that she is worried about Molly. "Molly's not doing so hot. I only see her when it's time to pass out the mail. I don't remember the last time I even saw her eating. I'm worried what she might do if I leave her alone too long, if I'm honest." David, concerned, asks her, "Is that bad, huh?" Veronica says, "Yeah. Now give me my alien presents. I want to look at them." Day 30. David, he is delivering everyone's packages once again. He goes to Sam and Arturo's room, but Arturo tells David that Sam is down by the lake. Molly once again asks David if she has a package today, and David tells Molly, "Nothing again today." Molly then breaks down and says, "He's just not going to let me do it, is he? He's really not going to." I'm sorry. David, he offers to help Molly. He wonders if maybe she is ordering wrong. He tells her, "Maybe you're ordering wrong or something. Do you want me to look at how you're doing it? I've been going really specific with mine, like the exact brand I want and everything." Molly replies, "Do you really want to know? Here, I already wrote down what I want for tomorrow." We see some examples of things that David have ordered, and they're all pretty random, funny shit. A suit covered in exclamation points, a suit covered in question marks, the 3 most expensive watches money can buy, the 3 most expensive bottles of liquor money can buy, the 3 most expensive Fabergé eggs money can buy, the 3 most... Okay, you get it. He wanted every Academy Award won by the Lord of the Rings trilogy, every kind of Oculus VR headset, so he can see which one he likes best. He wanted a weighted blanket one day, and then the next day he wanted a lighter weighted blanket. He wanted the first appearance of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in comics. And he wanted another bottle of the most expensive liquor money can buy. And he wanted a fleshlight, and he wrote, "Don't judge me, bro." What did Molly try to order, though? Molly tried to order her husband. On day 8, she wrote Cam. Day 9, Cameron. Day 10, Cameron Michael Reynolds. Day 11, Cameron Michael Reynolds, underlined. Day 12, my husband, underlined, Cameron Michael Reynolds. Day 13, my husband, Cameron Michael Reynolds, alive. Day 14, Cameron, my mom, and my dad, alive. Day 15, give me my fucking husband back, Walter. Once that didn't work, she wrote down stuff to try and kill herself with. Day 21, handgun and bullets. 22, enough rope. 23, straight razor. 24, straight razor. 25, straight razor, straight razor, straight razor, straight razor, straight razor. Walter, he hasn't been delivering Molly these because he can't give her her husband and he doesn't want her to try to kill herself. David, he decides that night to write down a straight razor for himself and see if he can get it delivered for Molly. Day 31. David goes outside to pick up the packages today. He sees Walter there watching him. Walter probably knows that David ordered the straight razor for Molly. David tells Walter, "You know, you could have just told us the rules, man." David goes back inside. He heads over to Molly's door and he tells her, "I have a package for you." Molly, looking at the package, says, "That isn't my symbol, it's your symbol." David tells her, "Yeah, but it's still for you." Molly opens the package and sees it is a razor. David tells her, "Look, I've been thinking, and I think you're looking for permission. You could have just gone to the lake or something otherwise to end it, so you put it in Walter's hands. I know you're hurting and you want it to stop. I think it's natural. Veronica, she isn't going to tell you that because she's scared of losing you, but I want to tell you that everything you are feeling is natural, and wanting a way out is a natural choice. But there's nothing natural about this place, and Walter isn't going to give any of us the permission you're looking for. And that should make you so frickin' angry that it makes you want to stick it out, just to help us figure out how to stick it to him. I want to show you something that I figured out last night, but I'm going to need that straight razor in order to do it." Later on that day, it is nighttime, and they are all having a big family dinner that Naya prepared for everyone all day. David and Molly arrive a little bit late to the dinner, and David, he is bleeding, has blood all over him. David, he stands on the table, and he is holding the razor blade to his throat, and he tells the group, "So, I think there's a couple things we should talk about. Nobody remembers how they got here. You all kind of just brush it off when I asked you. And sure, there's a lot going on, and airports are boring and whatnot, but myself, I remember packing for the trip in my apartment in New York, and then I remember getting to the house. I don't remember anything in between those two things. Nora and Sarah, they know something that the rest of us don't know, and they're being really weird about it. And Sam, he found a weird building on the other side of the lake back in the first week, but didn't tell anybody about it. I know this all frickin' sucks, and it's not like we all know each other really well. Some of us were really tight a while ago, but as a group, we don't know each other at all. And we're all just kind of slipping into ourselves, and we're waiting for this all to be over. But we have to love each other and look after each other, or there's no hope of us surviving all of this. We all know, Walter, there is no getting off this ride." The group is telling David to stop. This isn't funny. They see him holding the razor blade and they don't want him to do anything rash. David, he's holding the blade to his neck and he slits his throat open. And then he tells the group, "We can't die. He won't let us. So we have to learn how to live." Issue 5. Back in issue 3, we learned there was a guy named Reginald Madison, the painter, who is trapped in the black building near the lake. Reginald is going to be important this issue. Veronica the scientist, she is narrating to us, talking to us, the reader, and she brings us to a flashback when she and various others were in high school. Veronica was dating Nora, or Norm, back then, and they were hanging out with Walter and Reginald. Reginald and Norm went into another room to talk, and Walter and Veronica were alone. Walter back then, he started hinting to Veronica about some of his weird alien responsibilities. He told Veronica, I don't know, I didn't think I'd like so many of you. People. I thought choosing was going to be easy, but I only have so many spaces to fill and I have an important responsibility." Veronica did not really understand what Walter was talking about, so Walter decided to show her. He tells her that she is so smart and she might fit the criteria better than Norm or Reginald. Walter transformed and showed Veronica his more alien, crazy-looking form. And Veronica back then, she just started freaking out. Walter, he decided to bail on that after he saw Veronica's reaction, realizing she couldn't handle it. Walter, reverted back to his normal-looking human form and told her, "Forget." And Veronica forgot everything, and she snapped back to normal. And she just said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what just happened. I had like a brain fart. Why did I stand up?" And Walter told her it's okay. And then the two of them just talked about the stars for the rest of the night. Veronica narrates now to us that she didn't remember any of that. She didn't know why Walter was being weird back then. She explains how, though, Reginald always seemed to understand Walter on a deeper level. He was the one that always seemed to guide Walter to decisions. Back to the current day where we left off last issue. Reginald seems to be reading a transcript of events that have happened. He's reading about when David slit his throat last issue, and David showed the group that they can't die. He tells them that they all have healing factors. The group then theorized on what are the rules to this place, this lake house. Why can't Walter tell them all of the rules? Veronica then tells the group that they should all sleep on it, and tomorrow in the morning they should all sit down and really try to break everything down and share all the information that everyone has on this place. They break for the night. Rick, he goes out and walks into the forest alone. Ryan, thinking it a little bit odd, follows Rick silently, eavesdropping. Rick, he is in the forest now, and he tries to communicate to Walter. He says, "I don't understand. Am I supposed to stop them from putting this stuff together, or is this what you want? Walter, please, are you out there? Can you hear me?" The next day in the morning, Veronica, the scientist, has a big whiteboard, and the group together, they brainstormed all sorts of information that they have discovered, as well as questions or theories they have. So, what are the features of this lake house area? There's an invisible wall, it's a hexagon, stings to touch. Is it like a force field? There's weird statues, they show you the apocalypse. Do the other statues show different things? What is the statue's purpose? What is the deal with this mail order system? Where do the items come from? Is it alien-made replicas of stuff? Is it stuff recovered from the real world? Why are there birds and animals on the property? Are they real? Can they be hunted or farmed? Are there like fish in the lake? Where are they? Nobody remembers traveling to Wisconsin. Why are there mountains in the distance? There's no mountains in Wisconsin. What are the possibilities? They're walled off, but are they on Earth, or are they on a spaceship? Or are they in another dimension? Is it a hollow Earth? No, probably not. Walter, is he an alien? Is he an interdimensional being? Is he ultra-terrestrial? Just a made-up word that David said? Is he a hologram body? Is he a flesh tornado? How old is he? Was there ever a real human Walter? Why would an alien have to go to high school or college? Why did he take us? Nora and Sarah, they show the group the guns and weapons they found. David, he thinks they are really cool. He comments, "We can't get killed, remember? I could shoot you all in the head right now and we'd all be fine." Veronica comments that they should take the gun away from David. Sam tells the group all about the mysterious black house with no entrance he found a few weeks ago. The group eventually decide to go check out this black house all together. So they all get into the boat and they drive over to where this house is. On the boat ride over, Veronica, the scientist, explains something she noticed a while ago but didn't mention before. She knows a lot about stars, and she says that you can actually tell time by using the stars and looking at their position in the sky. But for some reason here, the stars haven't moved. The group asks her, "So what does that mean?" And Veronica answers, "I have no idea." The group of 10 of them arrive at the black house. There are all sorts of weird symbols around them. They investigate it and they can't figure out how to get into the black house. So they decide to shoot at the house. That does nothing though. They then decide to blow up the house with the explosives they brought from their own house. They set up the explosives and they blow it up, but the house is still standing unharmed. They then look around. Ryan notices that all of these weird statues around them each have a symbol on it with one of their logos. She wonders, what if everyone touched their own logo at the same time? They decide to try it out, and then something starts happening. The black house opens, and inside is this Reginald Madison, the painter. Reginald says to the group, "About time, you guys. It's good to see people again, real human people." Reginald goes over and hugs Nora as they are old friends. Reginald then tells the group, "Apologies if I'm a little manic. I've been practicing speeches in my head since before you all got here. I really thought you were going to put this all together much faster. We're going to have to work very quickly now. There is still time to save the world." Issue 6. It starts raining and lightning is coming down from the sky. Reginald invites all of the members of the nice house on the lake into the black building he was staying in. Molly asks, what did Reginald mean when he said that they could still save the world? Reginald explains that they are part of an experiment, and he doesn't think that the experiment is working. Not how they want, so they might still have some time. Veronica asks, who is they? Reginald answers, the aliens, Walter's family, whatever the hell they are. Reginald says that he has been getting and reading transcripts of everything that has been going on with the others since they arrived. He then goes into a whole breakdown explaining his history with Walter. We have a flashback back to the high school days. Walter, Nora, or Norm, and Reginald were all best friends, the three of them. Walter wanted to tell them all his big secret. Walter was really nervous about it, and he kind of prepped them for it for a few weeks. But it finally came time to reveal everything. One weekend, they all got together for like a slumber party, and Walter told them what the deal was. Walter said, the world is going to end soon. Not immediately or anything. There will still be another couple decades, but they're not going to be good. We've been doing what we can to make sure that you can't really fight back. The world is going to get ugly. People are going to hurt each other because most people aren't very good. We didn't even need to put our finger on the scale that hard, but it's going to get much worse. And then it's going to come to an end. And I'm supposed to save, like, the best of the best. The people who are the best examples of your species from a number of fields, exceptional humans. They put me in school and gave me a body and hormones and all of these human feelings so I could make my choice in a more educated way. I'll make my choice and I'll put them in a nice place they can live in for the rest of time so we can keep studying your kind. And once I prove that my group is a stable sample of the human population, then we'll exterminate the rest of you. Nora, as Norm back then, asked, so you're an alien or something, or like one of those agents from the Matrix? Walter answered, I'm just something else. It's hard to describe. You don't really have words for it. Nora grows angry, telling Walter, yeah, well, shut up or prove it, okay? Walter, he proves it. He transforms into his creepy alien kind of appearance. And Nora starts freaking the hell out. Nora says, what the hell? What the hell, man? What the hell is happening? Wait, this is real? You're gonna blow up the frickin' world? You're gonna kill us? I won't let you. I can't. Walter tells Nora to forget. And Nora forgot. Clearly did not react well to Walter's surprise information. Reginald, though, he seemed more cool with it. He asked Walter then, you want to save us? You want us to be in your sample set because you love us? Walter answered, yeah, but I need you to be exceptional, so my superior, so they don't take you away from me. Reginald asked, you're gonna make me forget too, aren't you? Walter answered, yeah, but I was thinking maybe we could talk sometimes. Maybe I could ask you your advice. Will you help me? And Reginald said, yeah, okay. Reginald, now in the current day, back in this black house with the others, says that he helped Walter. He helped design all of this lake house, this whole ordered system. This is what he's been doing for years. Molly asks, why didn't he tell someone? Reginald explains, Every time after I talked to Walter, he'd take the memory away. I didn't know. There wasn't any way to push back. They ask Reginald, why does he still think there is hope in the world? Reginald answers, well, it's an experiment. It's always been an experiment. They need us to be a stable group together, and we're not. We're already screwing with the order of things. That says to me that this is a trial run. It says to me the rest of the world is probably still out there. I know how this place works. I know its rules, and if we work together, we can... Walter then walks into the room. He tells them all, you have to stop this. Stop trying to break the system here. It's not going to get you what you want. Please, trust me. I'm doing all of this for you. Please, you have to relax. You have to enjoy yourselves. Put all of this out of your heads. There is nothing good at the end of this road. Nora yells at Walter, what else have you been hiding, Walter? What else did you take from our memories? Walter, he lets out a big sigh. And then he says, forget. Walter, he altered the entire group's memories. He's going to rejigger things and try some more. They are all back in the lake house. The next thing we notice, Ryan Kane, the artist, wakes up in bed. She's in a room with Reginald, and Reginald is painting. Walter then walks into the room, looking normal. No one remembers that Walter was this weird alien figure. Walter tells Ryan and Reginald, hey guys, I think Rick and I are going to go on this hike this afternoon, try and map a bit more of the hexagon, see if there are any more weird buildings here. Reginald answers back, y'all have fun? Miss Ryan and I are having a detox and painting kind of day. Walter and Rick leave. Ryan, looking out the window, comments, looks like it's going to be a nice day today. Reginald replies, yeah, it does. And with that cliffhanger, we end Volume 1. Alright, so that was the end of The Nice House on the Lake, Volume 1, and now we will continue on with Volume 2, which covers issues 7 through 12. So, now continuing on, The Nice House on the Lake, Issue 7. Everyone's memory has been partially wiped and reset. Nobody remembers that Walter is an alien with a messed up face and weird motivations. Walter has also made it so that nobody remembers that everyone else out there in the real world is dead. They just think they are all trapped here, away from everyone else. And Walter is going to try to continue to have everyone get along in this new status quo he has created for them. On this new morning now, Walter knocks on Molly Reynolds' door and wakes her up. Walter actually used to have a crush on Molly back in college, but then Molly ended up dating this new guy Cam, and she ended up marrying him. Ever since being in this nice house on the lake, Molly has been missing her husband Cam terribly, and she was even contemplating committing suicide a few issues ago over that. But in this new status quo, Molly does not know that Cam is dead. She just thinks that Cam is stuck away from her. Walter, he wakes Molly up on this day. He says he wanted to see if she was willing to come down for breakfast. Molly, apprehensive as she was pretty much just staying in bed lately, answers, oh, I don't know. Walter to this says, look, I know you're worried about Cam. I know you're scared. I am scared too. We all want to find a way out of this place, and we will, I promise. Molly, she then reluctantly agrees to come down for breakfast. Walter tells her, good. Over in the living room, Sarah Radnitz is sketching on a whiteboard. She is trying to study the mysteries of this place. Walter asks her, did you solve everything yet? Sarah to this says, sarcastically, yeah, figured out the whole thing. That's why I'm so goddamn happy. They then all get together to have breakfast, and Walter, he throws out a suggestion. He says, so, I had a thought last night. I was wondering if we could, order a new building on the property. Sam questions, "You think that would work?" Walter to this says, "I have no idea, but that's why I think we should try it. I just thought, it's been a month here. If we were able to build like a kind of studio space just off the building, we could take all of the whiteboards and mapping equipment and all the stuff we've been using to figure out what this place is and why we're here, and we could put it in the studio space and kind of create a work-life balance and try to maintain a little sanity. If we work ourselves up into a frenzy, we're never going to get to the bottom of any of this. We need to give our brains time to relax if we're going to stay sharp." Someone else suggests that maybe they could put an antenna on the building. None of them have good reception ever since they've gotten here. Maybe they could boost their wireless signal. Sam to this says, "Do you really think whoever put us here is going to give us the tools to get a signal out?" Arturo questions, "So, who would do it? Who would write the description of the house to order?" Walter says, "I was thinking Reginald could maybe draw the place, lay out the designs and feel of it, and then I could write down the ask, referencing the designs." Sarah thinks in the future maybe it would be nice if they could each have their own houses. Veronica adds that she would just settle for individual rooms, so that way she doesn't have to keep listening to Molly snoring. Elsewhere on the property, we see Nora Jacobs. She is in an all-black void. Nora, she seems to be separate from all the others, and she still has memories of Walter and what he did. Walter, I guess for some reason, had to keep Nora separated. Nora, she is in this black void, and she is so angry at Walter. She's angry at Walter for stuff he did in college, and then of course, most recently, killing her parents when he killed the rest of the world. Nora, she thinks to herself, "You saw that our families made us sad or stressed, so you frickin' disintegrated them? And you don't want us to blame you for it? You want us to be happy in this perfect little house, in this perfect little world? Well, screw you, Walter. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You can't just make people feel the way you want them to feel, Walter. You can't just decide that you're the good guy and then set the whole world on fire. You're trying to act like you're the frickin' hero? This poor little alien weirdo who figured out a way to save his friends? Dude, you've been lying to all of us for the entire time we've known you. Do you think we're just gonna be okay with that? I was just getting my shit together, Walter. I finally transitioned and was becoming who I wanted to be, and you weren't a part of that, and it killed you. Don't you get it, Walter? You never actually knew me. You just had a version of me in your head that you wanted to exist. Well, I'm sorry, Norm wasn't real. He was made up, and this is me. And you have never tried to get to know who I actually am. And do you have any idea how much that sucks? How much that hurts? How much of our past that just erases? And now you want credit for saving me? Are you kidding me, Walter? All because you had a crush on this sad high school boy who never existed. And that's why now I have to live in your hell, knowing that you set my whole life on fire because of a high school crush? You asshole. Elsewhere in the house, we see that Reginald is working on the designs for the new building they are going to be ordering on the property. Walter, he is looking over these designs. Reginald then makes a comment. He says, I'm furious with Nora for flaking on this trip. So it seems like in this new status quo that Walter has made, nobody remembers that Nora was there. Walter to Reginald says, "Yeah, I know." Reginald continues, "She said she was coming, right?" Walter explains, "Yeah, she did." Reginald continues onward saying, I don't mean your other friends aren't nice and all, but she should be here. It feels wrong that she isn't." Walter says, I tried so hard." Reginald then changes the topic of conversation and says, "Can I ask you a question though? A real question?" Walter answers, "Yeah, of course." Reginald says, "Why did you invite Ryan? You did your little hopeless boy crush thing on her like you did for all of us. And then you invited her here, and at least we've all got people here, but she doesn't have anybody but you. And you're not even giving her the time of day." Walter doesn't like this line of questioning. He then uses his alien powers and says, "Stop. Forget you asked that question." And then all of a sudden, Reginald's mind just goes blank for a second, and he snaps out of it, and he says, "Oh man, what was I saying?" Walter answers, "I don't know." They then continue talking about the designs on the new building for a while. Afterwards, Walter leaves the house and walks on the property for a bit. And then he walks over to where Nora apparently is. Nora is apparently trapped in another section of the property. It's a little building just for her. She'll have food and books and records and a great sound system and movies and video games and even some paper if she wants to draw. And Walter explains to her there's a little mirror, and if she goes up to the mirror, she can listen in when they're all in the studio that's going to be built. And that means she would get a chance to see everyone tomorrow. She won't be able to interact with them, but she can see them. And Walter thinks that would maybe be nice for her. Walter tells Nora, "I'm sorry for leaving you in the dark as long as I did. I probably should have left you in the other house, but after Reginald, well, there were things I can't remove from that house, and I don't think it'd be smart to put them in your hands. It wasn't smart of me to put them in his. Look, I need to make this work, Nora." Nora starts yelling, saying, "Do they even know what happened to the rest of the world now? Do they know what you did?" Walter responds, "I decided to play it a little differently this time." Nora then asks, "Why didn't you just kill me, Walter?" Walter starts crying and says, "I couldn't live with myself if I let you die. I'm gonna leave you here, but I don't need to sleep like the rest of them, so I'm gonna come and spend time with you in the evenings." Nora asks, "What's the point of this, Walter? What do you want with me?" Walter answers, "I want to convince you that I'm doing the right thing, and then I want your help." The Nice House on the Lake, Issue 8. We have another creepy flashback to the before times, where everything Walter is saying is just a creepy hint at what he's planning for the future. In this flashback, Walter was talking to Sarah Radnitz. They both just left a party, and Sarah asked Walter why he left, and Walter answered, I don't do well at parties." Sarah questioned, "It's bullshit, you love parties." Walter to this said, "Alright, I love them when I know people, and even then I still get a bit sad." Sarah then asked, "Well, why do you get sad, Walter?" And Walter answered, "Because there's only room for so many. There are only so many people you can care about. I mean, really care about, and I like the people I already have. Those are the ones I want to keep. The rest are, I don't know, they're fine, but I don't need them. Sometimes one of them kind of gets past my defenses and I start caring about them, and then suddenly they show me the kind of person they are, and I want to shout at them and say, I was going to give somebody else up for you, but they wouldn't understand. I'm glad they make you happy though." Sarah to this says, "Some of them do." "Well, you make me happy, Walter." Walter answered, "You make me happy too, Sarah." Sarah asked, "Am I on your list?" And Walter answered, "Yes, you're on my list." Back to the current day now. It is a new morning, and the new building that they ordered the night before has arrived, and all the housemates are checking it out. Nora, she is still trapped in the little section she is in, but through the mirror, she can see all the other housemates checking out this new building. And Nora is watching them through the other side of this mirror, but she cannot contact them. All the various housemates are complimenting Reginald on his great design for this place. They all start thinking about maybe other new buildings he could design and they could bring in. As they are all talking, eventually Ryan Kane walks in. Walter has been treating Ryan a little strangely. It seems like the only reason he brought her here is because he was attracted to her and had a crush on her, but now he's been ignoring her, and he even ignores her here right now. Ryan, she says to the group, "I want to see this place for myself. This is really cool. Great thinking, Walter." And then Walter just brushes her off really quickly, saying, "Thanks, Ryan." And then he quickly skedaddles away. Throughout this issue, we also see some designs for other buildings that Reginald is planning. We see here he has designed an observatory. Later on at breakfast, they're all talking. Veronica has become a little bit obsessed at establishing contact with the outside world, because she still believes that people are still alive out there. On the designs for this new shed building that have been built, they requested an antenna to be built on top of it, but the antenna was not included when the shed was delivered. So clearly, whoever is controlling this place doesn't want them to have this antenna and have them trying to contact the outside world. But Veronica won't give this up. She says, I'm going to order the individual pieces needed to build the antenna myself. See how far I can get that way. But at the very least, I think getting a view from a high vantage point with a telescope will be useful. Maybe I'll see something we can investigate. There's still so much of these forests we haven't explored. Walter, he jumps in and starts changing the subject, trying to get people to stop thinking about how to contact the outside world and how to escape from here, and how to get them more accepting of facing the reality that they're going to have to be living here for the foreseeable future. Walter says to the group, I think maybe we should talk about priorities. We have the shed to be our base of operations for a lot of these discussions, but we need to consider what we should build. If there really is no way out, and if we're really stuck here, what's going to make us more comfortable? What's going to make our lives easier? Rick suggests they build a farm. Sarah shuts this down, saying we can get food whenever we want by just ordering it. Walter, though, he says he likes the idea of a farm and give them all something to do. This kind of pisses Sarah off, and she goes to take a smoke elsewhere so she can be alone for a bit. While Sarah walks off, Walter watches her, and Ryan comes up to Walter and tries to engage him in conversation again. Ryan asks Walter, hey, can I steal you for a few minutes? But once again, Walter shuts her down, saying, I'm sorry, later, I just need to see what Sarah's up to. So once again, Ryan is rejected. Walter, he moseys down to the dock to talk with Sarah. Walter asks her what's wrong. Sarah answers, why don't you want to go home? Walter to this says, what do you mean? Sarah explains, look, I like the idea of having a dedicated space to think about how we're going to try to get out of this place. That was a good thought, but then I thought, we'd get to the war room together and start trying shit out. Walter tells Sarah, we still don't even know why we're here. Every clue has been a dead end. Don't you think it's worth spending time to figure out how to build a life for ourselves here? Sarah to this says, Walter, I love you, but I have people out there, and I want to get back to them. Why don't you? Walter replies, I'm just trying to be practical. Sarah to this says, so you want us to spend our days managing on a frickin' farm? Walter explains, I just want to find some kind of balance, and I don't want people to get their hopes up. We now see a design for a spa that Reginald created. Later that night, Walter goes to talk with Nora privately. Nora, she's still trapped in her own little area. Walter shares that he's frustrated that things aren't working out how he would like. Nora to this says, well, you know what the problem is, right? Walter, he answers Nora's question saying, they don't remember that the world isn't out there for them to return to? Nora says, yeah. Walter, he continues, but you were all too sad to do anything when you did know. I don't want to break everyone down again. Nora replies sarcastically, yeah, it sucks that human beings feel emotions when they know their friend killed the whole frickin' world. Walter, feeling down, replies, I have emotions too, Nora. Nora quips back, oh yeah, it's totally equal. You kill everyone, but you feel bad that your friends are going to be mad at you when they find out. Walter then changes into his more alien form, and he yells back, I didn't kill anyone. I saved you. You don't get it. You don't understand. Nora tells Walter, there isn't a way for you to get what you want here. They aren't going to set roots down in your fake little heaven when they think there's a home to get back to. They might, if there's no hope, but then they're going to hate you. You don't get to have it both ways. Walter, he leaves. We see Reginald has created another design, this one for a studio. The next day, Ryan wakes up and she's talking to Reginald. She expresses that she feels lonely. Everyone else knew someone from before except her. She feels like she's in summer camp, showing up after everybody else already made their friends in little cliques. They then start discussing what new buildings Reginald should create. And Ryan, she says, what's the point? What are we gonna do? Magic up some skyscrapers here and make a big lonely city for us to play around in until we get bored and magic it all away? Ryan also shares with Reginald that Walter won't talk to her, and she can feel that he's irritated whenever she tries. Ryan eventually leaves to go for a walk around. She heads over to the new shed that was built. Ryan, alone, is crying to herself. She says, "What am I doing here?" She then happens to go up to the mirror where Nora is on the other side of. And somehow, Nora is able to communicate with Ryan. Nora blows her breath on the mirror and it fogs up, and Nora is able to write into the mirror to Ryan. Nora, she writes, "Hi," and Ryan is a little freaked out, but curious. The Nice House on the Lake, Issue 9. Nora, through the mirror, tells Ryan, "Walter is not human. The world has been destroyed. He has taken your memories. Do not trust him." Elsewhere, we see the others are checking out some of the new buildings. There is the new observatory that has just gone up, and there is also the spa. Arturo Perez was the one that requested the spa, as he was an acupuncturist in his previous life. So he wanted a spa built here, and his idea is that he would do acupuncture on anyone else who wanted it. Reginald and Arturo are looking at the spa. Reginald asks, "Is this what you had in mind?" Arturo answers, "It's so much better than what I had in mind. Thank you." Reginald replies, "Remember, the deal is I get the first session once you're all set up." So eventually, later on, Arturo is going to do some acupuncture on Reginald. Remember, acupuncture is when you stick little needles into people to help relieve tension. Elsewhere in the house, Naya Radia is talking to Rick. Naya, who was a doctor in her previous life, says that she misses her work. We jump back over now to Ryan. She is still communicating with Nora through the mirror. Nora writes a long message to Ryan saying, "I am Nora. I don't know if you remember me. I was invited to the house like the rest of you. I was your roommate for the first month we were here, before he took our memories. He let us see what his people did to the world if we touched the statue outside the front door. We could each see our homes on fire, our loved ones burning. He wants us to be grateful for being here. He wants us to love him for saving us. He's trying to control us, but we can fight back." Later that night, Walter goes to talk with Nora. Walter is frustrated that it's not working. He thinks maybe it'll just take a few more months. Walter starts brainstorming, saying, maybe I can tell them the world is gone again. I'll just take another shape and introduce myself as a figure they don't know. Nora to this says, "Then they're just gonna try to find a way to kill you." The two of them argue a bit more on Walter's other ideas, and then Walter gets frustrated and yells, "Well, then help me do it better, Nora! Help me!" Nora responds, "Let me tell you why it's not gonna work, Walter. There's no way to have any kind of real trust between the two of us when you have all the power." Walter to this says, "I'm not gonna let you screw this up because you're mad at me. If this doesn't work, you all die. That's what I'm trying to prevent." Nora argues back, "If you genuinely want me to understand what you're thinking, to think like you and make the judgments you're making, I need to see the lever. I need to have the ability to pull it. You keep telling me that you really value me, that you want me to understand and empathize with you making these big decisions. Clearly you think if I was in your shoes, I'd make the same ones, but you're afraid you're wrong. Afraid enough that you want my input. So find out." Walter eventually decides he'll try something. He tells her, "I can show you something later tonight." Nora asks, "In the other house?" Walter says, "Yes, in the other house." Later on, we see that Arturo is finally doing the acupuncture treatment to Reginald. Arturo comments, "Before, I was never able to afford using these Japanese needles in my practice, and now I have a box full of them." Arturo, he begins sticking the needles inside Reginald. Elsewhere, back over to Ryan. Nora is continuing to communicate with her. Nora tells Ryan, "There is a house on the other side of the lake with no doors. We got close to screwing up Walter's plans there. That's why he erased your memory. Go to the other house tonight. I will provide a map. Wait for an open door." Later on, Arturo and Reginald seem very disheveled and concerned. They call a house meeting with everybody. Everybody arrives for this emergency house meeting. Everyone except for Walter and Ryan, because Walter is with Nora tonight, and Nora also told Ryan to go to this place too. So that's where they are. But everyone else is at this emergency meeting. And Arturo and Reginald explain that when Arturo was doing his acupuncture treatment for Reginald, every needle he placed inside Reginald would all of a sudden be pushed back out of his skin in a minute or two. Reginald, he then pulls out a knife, and he slices his hand and blood drips to the floor. Then Reginald's hand all of a sudden heals very quickly. Reginald tells the group, "Yeah, so I think we're dealing with something much weirder than any of us have considered before, and that means we've been approaching this all wrong." Elsewhere, Walter goes over to see Nora, and he takes her on a little field trip. They're walking through a black void. Nora asks, "What is this place?" Walter answers, "Think of it like backstage. This is where I live." Nora comments, "There's nothing here." Walter says, "Not that your eyes can see or your mind can comprehend." "I can't give you everything you're after, Nora, but I can give you something." Walter brings Nora over to this other house there, and he opens a door for the both of them. And Ryan, she ends up following them inside that door. The Nice House on the Lake, Issue 10. Walter and Nora are in this kind of control room for the Nice House on the Lake, and Ryan is secretly in there as well, overhearing what they are talking about. Nora, she asked Walter, "What is this place?" Walter answered, "These controls show the habitat inside the enclosure, the humidity levels, the rainfall, all of it. I've been debating whether or not you'll want it to snow in here or if you prefer it to stay temperate. This is also where I take your orders, fabricate what you want so it can be delivered each morning." Nora questions, "Why are you showing this to me?" Walter answers, "These controls, in a way, they can show you how I see the world." We jump back to the other housemates. Now that they have found out they seem to have healing factors, they want to experiment and see how far they can take it. David Day, the comedian, insists that Reginald shoots him with a machine gun here. Everyone's asking David, "Are you really sure about this?" David says, "It doesn't matter, we can't die." Some of the others struggle to watch. They fear that David may die. Reginald, he opens fire. David, he takes several bullets and he goes down, but the bullets just pop out of his body, he heals, and he is perfectly fine. David, once he wakes up from being shot, laughs, and he says, "That hurt! Do it again!" We jump back on over to Walter and Nora in the control room. Walter continues, "These here are the controls for each of you. It sets your rules, like right now, if you select the circle like this, it shows how quickly you all heal. Any faster and I think it'd be too unsettling. And if you tinker with this over here, it will change how quickly you age." Nora, though surprised, asks, "You mean we're not aging right now?" Walter says, "No." Walter, he then points to another control and he says, "And this here governs your memories, what you do and don't remember." Nora, trying to take this all in, comes up with an analogy. She says, "You're telling me you have some sort of video game character builder here for each of us? This is the big alien technology running the place, some sort of MMORPG?" Walter answers, "Kind of, but it's more of an interface. The actual technology you wouldn't be able to perceive." Nora asks, "How far can it go? Is there a slider here that can make everyone really fat or really thin? Can I dictate how long everyone's hair is?" Walter to this answers, "I couldn't make this do that if you think it would help." Nora, getting serious, says, Walter, how far can it go? Walter says, pretty far. Nora, she then comments saying, Reginald said he helped build this place, this whole little world. Walter explains, Reginald helped with the aesthetics of it all, yes. He helped make it so the tools we need to regulate the laws of reality here fit in with the rest of the decor, like the statues. Nora questions, Walter, where are your controls? Where's your character builder? Walter, he tries to ignore this line of questioning, but Nora insists, saying, You wanted me to participate. I told you what I needed to do that. Walter, he gives in and shows Nora the controls for him. They're like 3 little lines, each with a dot on them. That's his symbol. Nora asks, Could I make you human? Walter answers, In a way. Nora questions, Why didn't Reginald use any of this against you when you trapped him here? Walter answers, It's like I said, he helped me put together the look of the place, but the rules I had somebody else's help with. Nora questions, Could he have accessed any of this if he knew how? Walter answers, Yes. Back to the others. They are all taking turns shooting each other, testing the limits of their newfound non-dying powers. Rick McEwen, when he goes through the process of being shot and dying and not actually dying and coming back to life, he finds it to be quite the thrill. He laughs and says, Wow! Back to Nora and Walter. Nora tells Walter what she thinks he should do. She says, You need to give everyone their memories back. All their memories, including the ones you took from before we all got here. Then, you need to make your case to all of us, why we shouldn't just make you human and lock you up or kill you. Then, you let us decide, as a group, what to do with you. Walter explains to Nora, That won't work. I'm just a small cog in this machine, Nora. If I do what you want, I'm gonna catch the attention of my peers. And if they see the kind of control I'm letting you have, they'll kill you all like they killed everyone else. Walter, he then gives an explanation of what this house on the lake is supposed to be. He says, The cells are meant to be a balanced human ecosystem. There are only meant to be 10 of you in here with me. 10 exceptional human beings, embodying different core aspects of humanity. An artist, a writer, an actor, a historian, a musician, a mathematician, a doctor, a scientist, a politician, and a person of faith. Nora, thinking about everyone in the house on the lake, says, Ryan is the problem, isn't she? Walter explains, Well, when Reginald stopped cooperating, I could tell he had left a trail of crumbs for himself that could give him access to this place. I didn't have time to figure out how he had done it. I had to hide him away. I needed an artist, so I chose one. If she lives and my superiors find out there are too many humans in this cell, that's the end for all of us, forever. Maybe there's a way to do your plan. Maybe I could remove her from all of your memories and bring back everything except for her. Nora to this says, I don't know. Walter, he responds, Well, anyway, we should get back. They're testing the limits of their healing factor again. I shouldn't have stepped away this long. Walter and Nora then leave the control room, but Ryan is still there, as she was hiding undetected. Back over to the rest of the housemates. They are still testing the limits of their healing factor. Rick asks his girlfriend Naya if she wants to be the next one to get shot and die and not actually die. Naya is apprehensive, but eventually she gets convinced. Back in the control room, though, Ryan was left there alone, and she goes over to the control panel, and she starts fiddling with the dials. She looks for the one that was having to deal with memories, and she tinkers with it and gives everyone their memories back. All of a sudden, all the housemates slowly start having their memories returned to them, the ones that Walter stole. Molly, she gets a headache, and Reginald, he just starts bleeding from his nose. And Nora, as she's walking with Walter, all of her memories come back to her now too. Nora, she asks Walter, Shit, when you said somebody else designed the controls, it was me, wasn't it? I remember now. I remember! Walter, he freaks out and says, No. What did you do, Nora? What did you do? Ryan in the control room, she tinkers with some other controls. Ryan, talking aloud, says, "And then we need to be able to hurt you, Walter. I think this is the one that does that?" So Ryan, she tinkers with those controls. And Rick, he is pointing a gun at his girlfriend Naya, as the memories have not flooded back into him yet. And as Rick is about to shoot, Naya all of a sudden starts bleeding from her nose. She says, "I don't feel so good." Rick, he asks, "What'd she say?" And David Day just yells, "She said fire!" So Rick, he fired. Blam! And Naya did not wake up, as Ryan turned off the controls that were stopping them from dying. The Nice House on the Lake, Issue 11. We have a flashback. Nora remembers something from her childhood. When she was friends with Walter, they were having a sleepover at Walter's house one day. Nora fell asleep, and then she woke up, and then she went to go look for Walter. And she went downstairs, and she saw Walter there in his alien form with his alien parents. Nora freaked out, and Walter used his powers on her and said, "Forget." And she forgot. Until now, of course. Nora, reflecting on this in the current day, thought, "I wonder what Walter was saying. If I had to guess, he was telling the things I thought were his parents to not kill me. He was trying to convince them I was the special person he found who might be fit to save when it came time to burn the world." I don't really have time to imagine what they thought. They were never particularly excited about me being Walter's friend, even when they weren't horrifying monsters. They didn't see what he saw in me, they just saw another body that wasn't burning yet, but soon would be with all the rest. Guess I showed them, huh? In the current day now, once again, we jump over to Rick McEwen. He is holding his girlfriend, Naya. Naya is dead. She does not appear to be healing and coming back to life like everyone else was, because Ryan was fiddling with the controls, and she turned off the healing factor a few moments before Naya was shot, and now there is no reversing it. All the other housemates, their memories are back now, and they remember everything about the world being gone and who Walter is. Sarah, she says to the group, "We need to find Walter. We need to see if he can fix this." Reginald, he takes Veronica aside, and he says to her, "We need to act fast. I don't want Walter's college friends getting mixed up in this." Before Walter took your memories, Rick was reporting in on all of you to him, trying to help him make the peace. And now somebody's in control of this place, and it's not Walter. It's gotta be Nora or Ryan. I'm betting it's Nora. We can't let Walter take back the controls. Molly Reynolds, with her memories now flooding back, starts crying. She now knows once again that her husband Cam is dead. She says, "Cam's dead, everyone's dead. Walter killed the world and trapped us in here." Sam Nguyen goes over to talk with Reginald. Sam asks, "Do you remember too?" Reginald responds, "I remember a lot more than the rest of you, too. I'm going down to the boat. I'll wait 5 minutes. Don't come as a group. Don't let the others know you're going." We jump back over to Walter and Nora. Nora's memories are all back. Even her memories from when she was in high school and friends with Walter, and the things he made her forget then. Nora tells Walter, "You need to make a choice right now. Someone is changing the rules here. The rules now say that I remember. You can go and try and stop the person changing the rules, but that means leaving me knowing everything to my own devices." Walter asks, "Why are you doing this, Nora?" Nora responds, "You know exactly why I'm doing it. It's the reason you've been erasing my memory over and over since I was a teenager." Walter responds, "I just wanted to save you. That's all I ever wanted. Ugh, there's a third option, I could kill you. I could kill you right now, and then you couldn't do anything anymore." Nora calls Walter's bluff and says, "Yeah? Well then kill me, Walter." Walter, frustrated, he leaves. He disappears into his void, and then he reappears back at the house on the lake with the others. Walter pops up beside Rick and Naya. Walter, seeing Naya dead, is apologetic. He tells Rick, I'm so sorry. This never should have happened. I never should have let it happen. Rick asks Walter to bring her back. Walter explains, I don't have that power. If I was here, I could have found a way to stop this, even with the limitations in place, with someone else at the controls, but I don't have the power to undo what has been done. I can make you forget, even if you don't want to forget her. You can forget that she made it to the house. I can make it so you think she's still out there somewhere. This is all my fault. I should have been here. I'm so sorry. Rick, he then picks up the gun and asks, who did this? You said the controls were taken away from you? Who is at the controls? Who did this? Elsewhere on the boat, we see Walter's high school friends have separated themselves from Walter's college friends. Reginald insisted they do this as he did not fully trust Walter's college friends to side with them. So on the boat, we have Sam Nguyen, his boyfriend Arturo Perez, Molly Reynolds, Veronica Wright, and Reginald Madison. On the boat ride over, Sam asks Reginald, "You're shaking, Reg. Are you okay?" Reginald answers, "I'm not remotely okay. He locked me in a prison for weeks on end, and then just rewrote my memories to keep me away from the truth, to keep us all away from it. I designed this place with little triggers to try and force my memory, but when he took my past from me, I just became exactly what he wanted me to be, his little architect toy. I think I want to kill him, Sam. I've never wanted to kill a person before, but I think I want to kill him." Molly asks the group, "Can we even call Walter a person anymore?" Sam throws out another question. "Do you think it's even possible to kill him?" Reginald answers, "Maybe, with somebody else at the controls." We now have a flashback to 17 days ago. This is back before the group found Reginald and when Nora was still with everybody else. On this particular day, Nora wanted some time to herself. The house happens to have a sensory deprivation tank, so Nora went to go inside of it to relax for a bit and be alone with her thoughts. Walter, though, he felt like he needed to talk with her. So when Nora was in the sensory deprivation tank, Walter, he started speaking with her and he told her, "Remember." Walter gave Nora all of her memories back right then, as he wanted to discuss their plans. And it seemed like Nora knew quite a bit. Once she had her memories back, Walter told her, "I'm sorry, I just wanted to talk to you. You were right, it's all falling apart already. I thought I could keep you from putting it together so quickly." Nora replied, "I told you this was never going to work." Walter told Nora, "There are too many of us here." Nora asked, Have your masters, do they know that there are too many of us here?" Walter answered, "No, not yet." Nora questioned, "But someone is going to need to die?" Walter answers, "Yes. I was going to kill Reginald when he fought back. At least that way none of you would ever have known that he was here, that anybody ever needed to die, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I think we have to move forward with your contingency plan." It seems like Nora and Walter have discussed a little bit of the intricacies of the whole deal with the house on the lake and the aliens in the past. And they have brainstormed ideas on how it could all work, but they still never fully settled on the plan. Nora tells Walter, "I'm not going to go along with it. Not without all of the context, without all the years of conversations building up to this. My problem is always going to be the same with this whole project. The problem is you, Walter. We need to know that there's no going home, regardless of how true that is, if we're going to keep on living here. But we need to feel like we're doing it without your help, without your guiding hand. Otherwise, we're all going to reject it, one by one." Walter asked, "So, how do I exit from this whole situation?" Nora answered, "Did you build the controls I sketched out for you?" Walter answered, "Yes." So it seems like Nora was the one that made those controls. Nora continues, "You're losing control, Walter. You'll need to take it back for a second, and you'll need to try to win me over by letting me think I have control. Tell me you need my help, and I'll resent your having waited this long to ask me for it, and I'll want to punish you for it. Show me the controls that I need to kill you, and let me loose. Even if I don't pull the trigger the second you show me how, it's just a matter of time. Walter asked, and what about the extra person? We can only have 10 here. Nora answered, when we try to kill you, you can lash out and try for one of us, or maybe we all draw straws as a group once you're gone. We'll figure it out. But if we get down to 10 of us and we can operate this whole place ourselves, I think it could work. I think that gives you what we're looking for. Walter told Nora, if you have the controls, you'll be able to access your memories, and that means you'll remember this conversation. How do I know you won't just tell everyone it? It would ruin everything. Nora answered, you're just going to have to trust that I want to keep myself and the rest of us alive more than I want to spite you, Walter. Walter, he responded, and you're going to need to trust that I'm willing to die. Alright, so that was 17 days ago. Walter, he felt like he had to have this conversation with Nora with all of her memories to figure out a plan, and they came up with a plan, and then Walter removed her memories, and then the preceding events happened. Back now to the current day. Walter goes and talks with Ryan in the black building. Walter tells Ryan that by her fiddling with the controls, now Nea is dead. It's not her fault though, but it happened. Ryan is distraught. She asks, can you fix it? Walter answers, no, this isn't how I planned any of this. I think at this point we're going to have to skip to the ending, which isn't how I wanted it to play. I hate that Nora was right in the end. Come on now, Ryan. We've been practicing this conversation for a long, long time. With these controls, you can change the environment, make the conditions so devastating it catches the attention of my superiors. They'll wipe you out and me with them. Total destruction, and we all go down in flames. These icons here, they let you control everyone else around you in the house. And these ones give you the power to kill me. How do you think this world will end, Ryan? You're going to need to decide quick. The others are on their way, and they might have their own ideas. The Nice House on the Lake, Issue 12, the conclusion of Cycle 1. Walter is talking with Ryan and having a serious conversation with her on what her options are. But first, Walter conjures them up a diner, along with a light beer for himself. Ryan asks Walter, why did you choose me? I overheard you earlier talking. You said it was supposed to be Reginald instead of me, that you invited too many people. Walter answers, well, I liked you better than everyone else, Ryan, and I didn't want you to die. I guess I got a little greedy. Reginald wasn't cooperating, and I didn't understand what he did to the terrain here, and I knew I needed to tuck him away until I did. And then I thought, hey, I know another artist who I like quite a bit. Somebody I would prefer not to be dead. Ryan cuts in and says, but now you're going to have to kill me? Walter answers, not anymore. You actually might have just saved your own life. Nea's death means there are 10 living humans in this cell, which is precisely how many there are supposed to be. The equilibrium of the system is a bit out of order now. 2 artists, no doctor. Either you or Reginald should read some books on basic field medicine so you don't look out of place to my masters. If that's how you want to play it, of course. Ryan, she questions, so what are my options? Walter to this says, well, option 1, you could keep messing around with the controls of this place, destabilize the ecosystem, tear it apart. That would draw the attention of my masters pretty quickly, and then they would burn you all to death, like the rest of the world. Option 2, you all fight each other over Nea's death while nobody can heal from their wounds, and maybe a few more of you die. The survivors would have some time, I'd bet, potentially a few years before my masters noticed the system was compromised, but then they'd probably shut the ecosystem down, and without that, you would all die here. Option 3 is, you get everyone to agree to kill me, using the controls here, and then you all take over the management of this cell together, and try to keep the equilibrium. Make sure the ecosystem is maintained. Make sure nobody dies. But otherwise, just find a way to live a long, peaceful life. The dataset my people will receive will continue unabated. It could be 100 years before my masters notice that you've killed me. Ryan asks, but then they'll kill us? Walter answers, well, if you're a stable human ecosystem and you've outperformed the other ecosystems, they'll be a little bit upset that you overpowered and killed me, but don't overestimate how important I am. I'm just a little cog in their machine. Ryan, a little startled, asks, there are other ecosystems? Other sets of humans? Walter answers, think of them like redundancies. This is just one cell, but my people want to have a sample set of humanity to study after your world is fully gone. Ryan then asks, is the world gone yet, Walter? Walter answers, what's left isn't anything worth going back to. And soon that will be gone too. The others are arriving. You should talk among yourselves. I'll be here when you're done. So Walter, he sits down to drink some more, and Ryan, she leaves the control room area and goes to talk with the others that just arrived. They all greet Ryan. Ryan says that Walter's inside. He wanted to give everyone here a chance to talk among themselves. Ryan also explains she doesn't know where Nora is. Ryan then explains, Walter says we can choose what we want to happen, but there isn't a good option. Reginald, he wants to kill Walter. Ryan says, well, that's one of the options. Walter says he'll let us kill him if that's what we want, if that's what's going to make us happy here. He says we'd have to maintain the place, try and make it so the other Walters out there don't realize he's gone. But if we do, we could live more than a human lifespan before his people even come to check. They all start debating what they should do. Arturo wonders if they should go talk to Walter. Reginald, though, he's still fuming. Veronica asks Reg, what do you think? You remember a lot more than us. Reginald answers, it was all aesthetics. It was how to make this place nice for us, to make it beautiful. Like, you all know we're not in Wisconsin, right? I don't even know if we're on Earth anymore. But I still don't know what he's trying to pull here. He never opened up like that to me, not really. That was always Nora. As Walter's high school friends continue to debate what they should do, eventually Walter's college friends arrive, headed by Rick. Rick starts waving a gun at Ryan, blaming her for his wife's death because Ryan turned off their healing factors. David Day steps in front of Ryan, protecting her, trying to talk Rick down. David tells Rick, what the hell you doing, man? Rick responds, I'm doing something. I gotta do something. David to this says, and then what? Then what happens when you kill her? Does that bring Naya back? Does that bring anybody back? Rick starts getting sad and answers, I don't know. Ryan tells Rick, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to hurt her. While this standoff is going on, eventually Nora walks out and joins the crowd of people. Nora tells the group, she was doing what I sent her to do. After Walter erased me from your memories, if you want to shoot somebody, shoot me. Rick, he doesn't know what to do. Tears are coming down from his eyes. He's saying, I don't know, man, I don't know. Rick, he settles down a bit. Nora then asks everyone else, so, how's everybody doing? What are we doing here? Molly answers, Walter says he'll let us kill him. Nora responds, yeah, I thought so. And what do we all think about that? Molly says she doesn't want anybody else to die. Nora counters, yeah, but what if Walter tries to fix things again and make us forget like last time? Sam, he suggests that they all take a vote if they should kill Walter. Nora agrees. After their vote is done, all the housemates go inside to talk with Walter. Ryan tells him, Walter, I think we've decided. We're going to... Walter stops Ryan and says, I know what you're going to do. They have decided to kill Walter. Ryan asks him, do you need a minute? Walter answers, no, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I wish I wasn't what I am. I wish my people hadn't done what they've done. All I ever wanted from the moment I met and fell in love with each of you was to save you from them. Even though you weren't the humans I was supposed to save, that's still what I want, more than anything else, to save you. It was wrong of me to try and share this little paradise with you because once you knew what I'd been a part of, I just knew it was me reaching too far for too much. I know you'll never make peace with this place, with the one who trapped you here looking over your shoulder. You need to take the controls. Nora, do you remember how I showed you? Nora answers, yeah, Walter, I remember. Walter continues, and you agree. This is the way we have to play it. This is the only way we can make this place work. Nora to this replies, yeah, I agree. This is the only way. Nora asks which of them is gonna shoot Walter. Rick, he says he can't do it. Ryan, she then takes the gun. Walter, before he gets shot, wants to say a few more words. He says, I hope you all remember the person you thought I was. I'm so glad that you all let me into your lives. I liked being a human. I liked being your friend. I'm so sorry about your families, all the other people you cared about. Reginald tells Walter to stop talking and just let it happen. Walter, he starts crying. And Ryan, she blasts Walter in the head, killing him. After a moment of silence, Sarah asks, okay, so what happens now? Ryan replies, we try to keep this place alive and hope that Walter's people don't realize anything went wrong here. And then I guess we figure out how to live with ourselves. We now zoom out and we see this nice house on the lake is in some sort of floating hexagon in a black void. And Walter, he is actually still alive. His death is just a ruse, a plan B. Walter then thinks about how it all came down to this. He remembers back to a conversation on night 1 with Nora. This is before Nora's mind was wiped and when she remembered everything. Nora asked how everyone else was going to die. Walter told her, let's not talk about that. They then talked about the plan on how to make their ecosystem sustainable. Nora told Walter, I know how badly you want this to work, Walter. You want us to be grateful, to love you for what you did, but we'll never be grateful for a cage we didn't choose. We'll never thank our jailer, even knowing the alternative. It has to be on our terms. We need to choose this path for ourselves. Walter, he asked, if I gave you the choice, would you have came? Or would you die tomorrow with everyone else? Nora replied, you're not going to let me choose, so I'm not going to answer that. Walter to this said, well, okay then. So, I try it my way, and everyone hates me, and nobody accepts this heaven I've built for them, and they try to burn it down. If that happens, I can make you all think you're making the decision to kill me. Take control of the place yourselves. Make you all think I'm gone. And then I'll shrink into the background and try not to meddle from the outside. Just let you live in peace for yourselves. Nora to this said, I think that's the only way we'll accept it. Walter continued, but if I give you the controls you told me to put in, you will remember. You'll remember this conversation. You'll be able to tell everyone I'm still alive. Nora to this responded, well then you just need to trust that I want to keep all of our friends alive as much as you do. Walter, reflecting now, says to himself, I didn't want to believe Nora was right, but she was always right about these kinds of things. I wasn't sure she wouldn't just burn it all down just to spite me, but she didn't, and it felt good. It made me wish I had been more honest with her about what was waiting for all of them. Maybe they could have prepared for it all in some way I hadn't anticipated. Those were the early days, the easy days. It took them only a few months to make peace with building a life at the house. It would take longer for them to realize they would need to fight to keep it. And with this, we end Cycle 1 of The Nice House on the Lake.
Alright, so that was The Nice House on the Lake, Cycle 1, covering volumes 1 and 2. And I thought this was fantastic. So many great things about it. I mostly just absolutely love the concept of what it would be like to live in this nice house on the lake for the rest of time, the whole world being dead, and being able to magically order up whatever I want. and all the mystery of trying to figure out the rules and what's going on is just so fascinating. And I like to put myself in the position of some of these characters. Like, would I be trying to figure things out, or would I be like David Day and just be having a good time and ordering stupid stuff? So yeah. Now, one thing I was a little bit disappointed by is that I originally thought this was going to be a 12-issue miniseries with a definitive ending, and I'm kind of bummed that it has not ended, and who knows how long it's going to take before we get the end of this story. It could be years. And I wasn't exactly signing up for that, but despite that, this was still a hell of a ride and a really good time. Now, one negative is that the artwork is pretty cool, but sometimes it's a little hard to tell who is who by the faces. Sometimes characters look kind of similar, but overall, the artwork I thought was pretty cool, and I like some of the unique ways they reveal the story through like lists and diagrams and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Now, the story did get a little convoluted at times, especially near the end with some of the twists and turns. Although I think I followed it all, where I guess Walter was talking to Nora in the past, and Nora was helping Walter figure everything out, but then she forgot, or her mind was wiped, and then she forgot that she kind of agreed to help Walter and what her plan was, and then they implement her plan, and anyway, a whole bunch of complications there. But still, this book was a hell of a ride, lots of twists, and I'm really curious to jump back into the story once, a few years have passed within the time of the book. Because within the book itself so far, they've only been in the house by the lake for maybe almost 2 months. That's not that long, considering they may have to be in there for hundreds of years. you know? So, what's it going to be like when we're just a few years down the road in this nice house on the lake? How is our world going to change? So, yeah, lots of really interesting concepts to explore in here. And, yeah, really fun series so far. So, I'm going to give this debut volume 1 and 2 a 9 out of 10. Thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And one day I'll probably end up covering the nice house by the sea as well. But we can visit that when that wraps up later on. So I'll see you all in the future with more comics.